Today we are going to read Psalms chapter 9. I will recount your wonderful deeds. In first verse we can see that David was thanking God with his whole heart, and he was recollecting what God has done to him in his life. Second verse we can see that David was praising God for helping him from many problems. Third verse David was saying that when God is with me, my enemies ran away with fear. In fourth verse, David was saying that God has sat on the throne and was giving the righteous judgment. In fifth verse, we can see that God has perished the wicked person and he has blotted out their name forever and ever. In sixth verse, we can see that the rulers of this world and the kingdoms of this world has been rooted out, and the very memory of them has been perished. But unlike the worldly leaders, Lord has established his throne for justice forever. From this we can see that the ruling of the kingdoms will not forever, but the Lord's kingdom will rule forever and ever. In eighth verse we can see that God judges the world with righteousness. That refers that God was a righteous judge. In ninth verse we can see that God was a stronghold for the oppressed and a stronghold in the times of our trouble. In 10th verse we can see that when you seek God and put trust in Him, He will not forsake you. Sing praises to the Lord who sits enthroned in Zion. In 12th verse we can see that God will not forget the cry of the afflicted. Be gracious to me, O Lord. See my affliction from those who hate me. O you who lift me up from the gates of death, that I may recount all your praises, that in the gates of the daughter of Zion I may rejoice in your salvation. The nations have sunk in the pit that they made, in the net that they hid, their own food has been caught. In 16th verse we can see that wicked are snared in the work of their own hands. wicked shall return to Sheol, all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, and the hope of the poor shall not perish forever. In 19th and 20th verses, we can see that David was praying to God to judge the nations before him. And David was praying that, put them in fear, O Lord, let the nations know that they are but men.